Have you ever received a message that arrived exactly when you needed it, even when there was no way it could have reached you? Imagine living in a world where voices can't travel beyond walls, where distance means silence, and then, one day, a single call changes everything. This is not just a story of an invention, it's the story of a promise, a dream, and a message that crossed the impossible. Our story begins in a small Scottish village, long before telephones, before wires, before voices could fly. A young girl named Eliza and her older brother Alexander shared a secret language. Eliza had lost her ability to speak at a young age due to illness, but she had a bright smile and sparkling eyes. Alexander, a curious boy, had found ways to talk to her through signs, gestures, and tiny bells. Every evening, when Alexander returned from helping his father, Eliza would ring her little bell twice from her window, and Alexander, no matter where he was in the village, would listen carefully. If he heard the bell, he would ring back using a larger handbell they kept in the garden. That was their signal. I'm here, I can hear you. But as they grew older, Alexander's ambitions took him far away. He wanted to study sound, how voices work, how air carries words. His father was a speech teacher, and Alexander became fascinated by how invisible waves could shape emotions, carry love, and keep people connected.
Before leaving, Eliza held his hand and made one simple request through signs. Promise me. One day, even if I'm far away, I'll still be able to hear your voice. Alexander smiled and whispered back, I promise.
Years passed. The world was changing fast. Trains connected cities, steam engines powered factories, but human voices were still trapped by distance. Communication was limited to letters, telegraphs, or face-to-face meetings. Alexander Graham Bell, now a young inventor, moved to Boston. He worked as a teacher for the deaf, inspired by Eliza's silent world. His passion? To give sound a new path. In 1874, Bell became fascinated by a strange idea. What if human voice could travel through a wire, just like telegraph, signals? Many scientists thought it was impossible. Telegraphs could only send dots and dashes, not the complex music of a human voice. But Bell wasn't just an engineer. He was a dreamer, a man carrying his sister's promise in his heart. If a bell can carry a message across a field, he once wrote, perhaps a wire can carry a voice across the world. Along with his assistant Thomas Watson, Bell spent endless nights experimenting. They used membranes, magnets, and tuned reeds to turn sound into electrical signals, and then back into sound. It wasn't easy. Many nights ended in silence. Many prototypes failed. But every failure brought them closer to a miracle. On a rainy afternoon, March 10, 1876, Bell leaned over his experimental device. Watson waited in the other room, connected by a single copper wire. Bell accidentally spilled acid on his clothes and shouted into the transmitter, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you."
Watson froze. For the first time in history, a human voice traveled through a wire. He rushed into the room and shouted, "Mr. Bell, I heard every word."
This was not just a scientific achievement. It was the birth of a promise that one day distance would no longer mean silence. Shortly after his success, Alexander wrote a letter to his sister Eliza, telling her everything. In his heart, this invention was more than technology. It was a way to keep voices alive, to make sure no loved one was ever too far to be heard again. Within a few decades, the telephone connected towns, cities, and eventually entire continents. Mothers heard their sons' voices from war fronts, lovers whispered across oceans, families stayed together, and somewhere, far away, a little bell in Scotland remained silent. but its message had already traveled the world.